Hello, second grade Cougars. It's Mrs. Bellatash, and before we start, I want to just do a little review of our vocabulary. So, matter. Everything is made out of matter. I'm matter, you're matter, everything is made out of matter, except energy. Okay, on Earth, there are three types of matter: solids, liquids, and gases. When we describe something, we're describing its properties. I have curly hair. I have brown eyes. When you describe me, you're describing my properties. Being flexible or being rigid are two properties of matter. You can also have something where you can see through it, and that means it is transparent. If you cannot see through it, it is opaque. Now, we're really going to be focusing on this word today, material, and the properties of material. So, a lot of our solids, they're all made out of different materials: wood, plastic, different things like that. Now, today I want us to talk about these two words and how they're different. One is a scientist. So boys and girls, a scientist is a person who asks questions. I wonder why the sky is blue. I wonder why towers are so tall and strong. So scientists ask questions and find out why. Engineers are people who solve problems. They solve problems. So an engineer is a person who's going to take information from the scientist about properties of matter and then design something to solve a problem. So today, you guys are going to be engineers. Okay, engineers. Today, we're going to do tower building. In your textbook, you should have already read the section on towers, and that gave you some information about what things are good for building towers and some properties of towers, some different characteristics of them. So today, I'm going to talk to you about the materials you're going to get to use. So basically, you're going to get to use anything and everything in the bag. If you want to use it, you can use it. If it's not in the bag, you cannot use it. There's only two things that you can add to your building. And one of them is a piece of cardboard. So I use this just from a cereal box. So this is the same type, strength, size of a cereal box. And I measured it. It is 6 inches across and 6 inches down. So it's almost a square, right? It looks not perfect, but it's a square. So you can cut something like this on your own of a piece of cereal box cardboard, not really heavy cardboard. This is the cereal box cardboard, okay? And you can have an 8-inch long strip of aluminum foil, okay? So 8 inches long, mine is 8 inches long here, and mine is 12 inches wide, okay? So those are the materials that you can use. So only the things from your bag and those materials. You don't have to use everything in your bag. You can if you want. Now, your tower must be 18 inches tall, okay? So if it's 12 inches tall, it's not tall enough. If it is 17 inches tall, not tall enough. It must be 18 inches tall, and it must stand up in a windstorm. So we're going to use a fan on low. It doesn't have to be on high, but a fan on low, and your tower must be able to stand up in a windstorm. So boys and girls, I want to empty out the materials from my bag, and I want to look at them in terms of their properties and whether they would be good for building. From the article, it said that a lot of those towers are built out of rigid materials. So we might want to think about which materials are rigid. Okay, so I have 2 cups. I have this screen, which we're going to use for something else later, but you can always use it for building. I have a bunch of rubber bands. I have some straws, cloth. I have a bottle. I I have the disc, cylinder. Sorry, I have a little brain freeze there. I have some cardboard. And I have some sticks. And then you also have all of the different items that were, we sorted that were flexible and like the triangle. All of these materials you can use, okay? I have a vial. I guess you could build with a glue stick if you want to, right? Okay, I have these things. All of these things are rigid and they would be great for building, right? Now, a rubber band. So a rubber band is really flexible. I don't think it's going to be that great for building. What might a rubber band be good for? It might be good for connecting things, right? It might be good, like flexible things might not be strong, but they're great at connecting things. Like I could put two of these together and use my rubber band. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put it closer together and then I'm going to separate them. And I could use my rubber band, wrap it and twist it and wrap it and twist it and wrap it and twist it. And then I could separate them. Oh, it's a little hard. Maybe I shouldn't have put it so tight. And now it got taller, right? So having flexible things is a really great way of connecting rigid things. Okay, the pipe cleaner might be also good for this. And you can cut these materials if you'd like. That's fine with me. Please don't cut this transparent flexible tube. Please don't cut that. Please don't cut this screen. But everything else. Now, let's talk about the aluminum foil. You don't get more. This is all the aluminum foil you get. But look how it's really easy to rip. And also, which is, okay, it's not going to be great for building, but just like the rubber band, the aluminum foil might be good for connecting things, right? Okay, and here's this big piece of cardboard. All right, so I want you to think about how you're going to do your building. In the article that we read, all the towers had a wide base and they got smaller as they went up. So you might want to think about that as you're building your tower. All right, go to it, Cougars. I'm going to share with you my tower. What I did was that I used the piece of cardboard as the base. I just that's where my cups are sitting. And then I have my cups at the bottom and I put a little, the cylinder and a screw on top of them to give them more weight so they'd be heavier at the bottom. Then I used the popsicle sticks. I poked a hole in the cup and I used the rubber band to attach them. Then I used straws and I attached the straws to the sticks with aluminum foil because aluminum foil is flexible. And then my straws I brought all the way up and then I used a piece of pipe cleaner to connect the two of them. Now with my straws, I folded one straw and then I pushed it inside the other one. So I have a pretty tall tower. And now I need to test to see if it's going to withstand a windstorm. I want you to see that my tower is almost 27 inches tall. The requirement was 18, so I was able to make it taller. And now I'm going to see if it withstands a windstorm. So I have a fan here. Right now it's on low, but it's not really pointing at my tower. So I'm going to have it point directly at my tower. You can see that the bat is moving. I want to make sure that it is like this. Oh! Well, that was not successful. All right, so my tower just blew over. So I had used this wooden block, this wooden cylinder, and this screw to try to hold it down. I have a glue stick. I'm going to try to add that. This just doesn't have very much weight. I really don't have anything else that is heavy. Besides taping it down, I don't know what else I can do. I'm going to allow you, since I'm going to use some, I'm going to tape my tower to the cardboard and see if that works. Okay, this is test number 2. I have the fan on, and you can see it is kind of pushing away the tower, but by taping the tower to the cardboard at the bottom, I was able to stabilize the base. All right, I think that was a good improvement. Okay, so let's get out your science notebook, and we're going to get this sheet that says towers. And I'm going to trim off the bottom so it will fit in my notebook. And I'm going to trim off a little bit from the side as well. And then I'm going to get a glue stick and I'm going to glue the back. Okay? And I'm going to glue that right into my science notebook, like that. Okay? Now, today, for me, it is 9/10/2020. Boys and girls, you're doing your lesson on another day. This is the day that I'm recording this lesson. So you're going to put the date that you are doing this lesson. And now it says, what are the properties of successful towers? Why don't you talk about that for a minute? What are the properties of successful towers? Well, for me, the properties of some successful towers are like something wide at the bottom and heavy, and something smaller or narrower and lightweight at the top. Okay, A, draw a picture of your tower and label the parts. So boys and girls, this is my drawing of my tower. I've labeled the cups. I've labeled the craft sticks, and underneath my aluminum foil, I had some rubber bands, and then I added the aluminum foil, and then these are the straws, and then I labeled the pipe cleaner at the top. So you can see that I have my tower. It has a wide base and a narrow top. So let's answer the questions that it's asking. Letter B, write about the properties of the top of your tower. Boys and girls, take a minute and talk about it and write down something about the top of your tower. I wrote, the top of my tower is lightweight and narrow. It's much smaller and narrower than the bottom. Okay, letter C. Write about the properties of the base of your tower. The base is down at the bottom. Talk about that. I wrote, the base of my tower is wide and heavy. Then letter D. Write about one part of your tower that was very important to its success in the wind. What worked for yours in the wind? For me, to keep the tower from blowing over, I had to tape it down. All right, so boys and girls, we just finished building towers. The next thing that you're going to read about in your science book is about bridges. Now, we're not going to build a bridge, but you could if you want. You can learn about bridges just like we learned about towers, and you can use the same materials and you can try to build a bridge that will cross from one table to the other and have a, let's say, a 6-inch gap between the two tables. See if you can build a bridge that will do that. It's up to you. That would be an extra fun activity.